Welcome back. Well, as you can see by the title, I'm going to talk about my childhood. A friend of mine, Aubrey, requested information not just from myself but others about their childhoods growing up as a transgender child. She's doing a research project, so I thought I would help her out. So I'm going to try to, some of the stuff I'm going to go back and repeat that I've already talked about, but I'm going to try to remember as much as I can about my childhood. You know, I've had a nice childhood. If I hadn't been trans, I would have had an idealistic childhood. I had a good family, a very loving Christian family, and if I hadn't been what I consider, messed up, it would have been nearly perfect. But for me, I've said this before. I was born with an intersex hormonal condition caused by disocebestrol hormones that my mother was taking to ward off a miscarriage. So it made me very feminized, and I think it has something to do with the development of my brain. Because from the moment that I can remember, I actually thought I was a girl. Uh, I grew up as a very small child thinking that all people had a penis, including my mother. I assumed because I had one and I just knew I was a girl that, she probably had one too. And I was shocked to find out that not everybody had a penis. Only boys had a penis. I didn't like that too good. I kept saying to myself, why, I'm not a girl. I feel like a girl. I like to play with dolls. And at first it was the baby dolls. I just liked my baby dolls. And my mama, she would take shoe boxes and line those shoe boxes in fabric and put these kind of ruffles around the edges of them and put little pillows in them. And she would make new clothes every year for my baby dolls, the ones that were like babies. But I'll never forget when I got my Loretta doll. And I'll show you pictures of Loretta in this video. I still got Loretta. But she was a Miss Revlon doll, which was a fashion doll. I think she was about 19 or 20 inches tall. And I still remember seeing her on the shelf down in Santa Land, downstairs in Woolworths. And my mother, she tells me later when I was a grown how I threw a fit for that doll. That I got that doll in my hand and I would not let it go. So she had to put it on layaway right then and there. And I was, I believe, 3 years old when that took place. But I can still remember that doll. I can still remember seeing that doll on the shelf and just having a fit for it. She was beautiful. She had on a red dress and a big black hat, picture hat, and black ankle strap shoes. That was the dolls that had the feet that stood up, And it was pre-Barbie kind of stuff, You dressed them up like adults, and they were made by the Revlon company. Ideal produced them, but they were in correspondence with Revlon Cosmetics, and they were like fashion models. And I can remember the night that Santa Claus brought that doll. I can still remember how she looked. She was so beautiful. And I kept that doll. And when I turned about, I say between 5 and 6, they took my dolls away from me. Because they were having to prepare me to go to school, and I couldn't take a doll to school now. So they took my dolls away from me. And I didn't know what happened to them. They were just gone. I wasn't allowed to play with dolls anymore. So that was devastating to me. But I had a cousin, and I would go spend the weekends with her sometimes. And one night, and I don't know how, why, or anything, I was in my aunt and uncle's closet, and up on a shelf was Loretta. I snuck her into my bag. I'm sure I had an overnight bag of some sort because I was spending the weekend. And I put her in the bottom of that bag and put my stuff on top. And Loretta went back home with me. Later on, my mama found the doll. And she says, well, I don't care what you do, but do not let your brothers and your daddy see this doll. You better keep it hid. So for the next 20 years, Loretta stayed hidden. And I played with her, and my mama still would make me doll clothes for my Loretta doll that I had to play with in secret. Now, my mother knew that I was a girl inside. She did not promote it. She did not prompt it. She just let me be who I was as long as nobody was around. And I'll never forget one day, and I had put lipstick on. Well, back in the olden days, and this was lipstick that was in the metal thing. It was probably from the 40s or so. And that stuff would stain your lips, and you couldn't get it off. And my mama said, your dad's coming up the road, you better get that lipstick off. Because we live out on the farm, off the road, and she could hear him coming down the road. You better get that stuff off. I'd be scrubbing, and the more I scrubbed, the pinker my lips looked. I think I got a whipping that day for putting on lipstick. But I knew then I'd never put lipstick on again until I got grown. Bigger, you know. But that's just the way it was, you know. I thought I was a girl. I wanted to be a girl, and then I started dreaming of being a girl. You know, the dreams I had as a child, I would dream myself being a girl. And, you know, I've said before, I found out about Christine Jorgensen just by reading about her in the newspaper when I was about 10 years old. So by the time I turned 12, and I found out about Michael Salem's TV boutique and got a catalog and ordered some literature through them. One thing was a book, How to Tell Your Family That You're a Transsexual. But I think it was Leif Erikson. I think that was his name. From the Erikson Foundation. And they sold a lot of books, and I bought the Transsexual Phenomenon, written by Harry Benjamin, through the Erikson Foundation when I was 12 years old. And it may have been through there that I found out about John Hopkins having a gender identity clinic. I'm not really sure now. I was 12 and I'm 64, so it's hard for me to remember full details. But I know it was that same time I was 12 whenever I wrote them for a questionnaire